So today I'm breaking down the 7 steps that are required to turn a hookup into a girlfriend, along with the very common mistakes that most men make along the way that sabotage everything. I've been coaching guys for about a decade, and every single relationship I've ever had, including the one I'm in now, followed this exact process. So if you want something that's more than just a hookup, this is the blueprint. Step 1, understand the pre-sex strategy. So whether you're trying to just sleep with a girl or you're trying to date her and make her your girlfriend, what you do before sex is going to be largely the same. There's a common misconception that like, oh, if you want to date a girl, you don't want to move too fast, you want to wait a few dates, or that if you're going for a relationship girl, you need to run a different type of game. This is largely nonsense. There might be some nuance to this, but generally speaking, sex is going to be the ultimate form of investment for basically every type of girl. So by having sex with her on the first date, you significantly increase the odds of seeing her on the second date. Now, just because you're trying to have sex doesn't mean it's always going to happen. I can tell you with my current girlfriend, we didn't actually hook up until the second date, right? But I definitely went for it on the first date. And because I actually was able to pull her back to my place, even though we didn't actually have sex, it was really easy for me to get her to come straight over for the second date, and we've been together for 5 years. At the very least, you should be able to get a kiss or a make out at the end of the date, because unless you're going for like extremely prude girls, which you should avoid anyway, even conservative girl will kiss a guy that she likes. So if you're unable to get a kiss, that just means there's something off with your game. Step 2, give the girl the best possible sexual experience. If you can make a girl come 3, 4, 5 times, the chances of her coming back skyrocket. So it's in your best interest to give her an amazing time. Now there's 2 common issues that guys will encounter at this point. Either they come too fast, and this is really not a big deal as long as you just go again later. You can even playfully blame it on the girl, like, damn, that body's just so fucking sexy. I couldn't resist. Give me a minute, I'm gonna fuck you again, right? Like you can playfully blame it on the girl, and that's gonna work really well. So that one's not a big deal as long as you make up for it a little bit later on. And then the other problem guys have is they just are not able to come. Now this can be potentially an issue because some girls will take it personally and think like, oh, there's something wrong with me. He's just not that into me, right? So you can preempt that, like right after you finish having sex, and if you don't come, you can be like, wow, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that, right? And then at that point, if she's concerned about the fact that you didn't come, she'll bring it up. And then you can be like, listen, honestly, it's the first time I get a little nervous, but this always goes away after the second or third date, right? Kind of frame it like that, where you're also seeding the next date, and that's going to completely eliminate this concern. And one massive pro tip for you guys, get yourself a Hitachi magic wand. Just go to Amazon, order one. What you can basically do is while you're fucking her, you can put it on her clit, and that's going to give her 10x the sexual pleasure, which will 100% associate with you. Step 3, the post-sex plan. So now you guys have finished hooking up, your goal is to show her that you're interested in her for more than just her body, as awesome as that may be. So what you're going to do is you're going to simply lay in bed, cuddle, vibe, shoot the shit. Keep in mind that people's guards go way down after sex, especially women. This is going to be really the best time to build a connection anyway, right? You don't want her leaving right away, essentially after sex. Also, if she can sleep over, that's even better, right? Because that builds more of a connection. Then you can get, breakfast in the morning. But if not, just make sure to walk her to her car or wait for her with Uber. Really small gestures like that can go a long way to signaling to the girl, like, hey, maybe this guy likes me for more than just sex, right? Kind of planting that seed. The mistake a lot of guys make here is they play it too cool, so the girl leaves, and then they just, don't say anything for a few days. And all it does is put you in the one night stand guy category. So after a girl leaves, I'll send her a text like half an hour later with like that was, and then 2 fire emojis, right? And then I'll just vibe with her afterwards. Step 4, the mindset after the first hookup. So now that you guys have had sex, you vibed afterwards, what do you do next? The first thing is, don't get ahead of yourself. You don't even know if she's, worthy of being your girlfriend yet, right? Because people can keep up an act for, initially, but people can't maintain that act for extended period of time, right? So you need to get to know her more. Your mindset should be, this girl seems cool, let's see what happens. I tell you personally that I was casually hooking up with my current girlfriend for about a year before we had the conversation, right? And then, it doesn't have to be that long, but I'd say minimum should be a few months, because if you move too fast, you're also gonna scare her away, right? Give it at least 3 or 4 months before actually, trying to make things more serious, before even determining if, you should make things more serious with her. Really take your time, right? That's the only logical conclusion. And keep in mind that if you try to move things too fast, you basically are skipping skipping the part where she actually falls for you. Step 5, the dates and texting strategy for afterwards. So this is the part where either guys typically become too distant or they become too eager. You want to have a right balance between those two, because if you come off over eager, you're going to scare her away and you're going to show that you're needy. But if you don't show enough interest, then she's going to think you're just not interested, and then she's going to become not interested in something more long term. So first of all, what do you do on the second date? Well, I think the best one is actually to have her come over and you cook for her. It shows effort without showing too much effort at the same time, right? If you don't know how to cook at all, like you're horrible at it, you can do takeout, that's fine too. And then for the next set of dates, here are some things you can do. You can go to bars, right? Chill bars. You can, do takeout, you can go for walks, you can do chill activities like that. But don't do anything fancy. Like, I don't recommend doing fancy dates or trying to impress the girl, because that usually will backfire. It's not a really good look. And also, you can do a bunch of dates where she just comes straight to your place. You guys watch a movie, or it can just be she comes to your place for sex, essentially, right? So yeah, but if you're trying to actually date the girl, then I wouldn't recommend just doing only straight to the house dates. I would actually occasionally recommend going out somewhere. And also, this is the part where you can really amp up your sex life, right? Now that you've kind of become more comfortable with each other, you can figure out what her kinks are, right? You can tell her your kinks. You guys can start doing some role plays. This is really the time where you take the sexual investment you have to the next level. Now, in terms of texting, at this stage, you definitely want to be texting her a bit, right? You don't want to just only talk to her when it comes to setting up logistics, because then she'll just assume that you want sex and she'll kind of put you in that category, right? Like fuckboy type of thing, right? But at the same time, you want to become her emotional support hotline, be all day texting her. What I recommend, if you find a girl's just texting you way too much, all you have to do is just slow down your response time. Instead of responding to her, within 5 minutes, you take 5 hours to respond. I mean, it has to be more than one a day, like once a day is fine, twice a day or something like that, because if you take too long, she'll probably just get pissed off, right? But that's a good way of signaling to the girl, like, hey, I want to talk to you, but I don't want to be your text buddy. And, what do you talk about? It's a question a lot of people ask. A simple, hey, how's your day going, goes a long way if you send that, once or twice a week. At this point, you should have some inside jokes that you can reference. You can send her funny memes, stuff like that. Here you can see a bunch of my examples, of me texting girls after sex. You can kind of see the sense of humor that I use. Step 6, decide if she's actually girlfriend material. So before committing or doing anything, you want to take some time. You just want to sit down and write out a list of the qualities that you actually want in a girl, aside from her being hot. For example, for me, it's, intelligence, it's going to be a good sense of humor, it's going to be empathy, it's going to be loyalty, it's going to be honesty, things like that. But your list may differ, and that's okay. You just need to sit down, figure out what it is, and then honestly assess if the girl that you're talking to is one who can live up to most of the things that you want. There's also some little things that you can look for. Guys on the red pill get way too focused on a girl's body count, and I agree that if her body count is triple digits, that's definitely very, very concerning, to say the least, right? But I think there are more important things that you can look at. For example, the friends that she has she had them for a while? Does she have childhood friends? Or does she seem to kind of switch friends once every 2 years or something like that? That's a red flag. Can she keep down a job? Has she had a job for an extended period of time, or is she always bouncing between different jobs because she can't maintain one? What's her relationship like with her family? Now, this one might be slightly outside of her control, because let's assume she had an asshole dad, right? You can't really hold her responsible for that, right? But if she, for example, she can't maintain a relationship with her family, she can't maintain a relationship with her friends, she can't hold down a job, then that's definitely going to be a girl you want to avoid. And the most important one, have you caught her in any lies? Are there any red flags that you see, right? Really just honestly assess that before making the decision. Step 7, have the relationship talk. Now, I personally think this works better if she's the one that initiates this, and if you've done everything right so far, enough time has passed, that's probably what will happen, right? I can tell you that in my case, about a year in was when my current girlfriend brought up, the idea of being in a more serious relationship, right? But you don't have to wait that long. If 6 months have passed and she hasn't brought it up, but you can tell she likes you, maybe she's a little shy, it is okay to bring it up. Just make sure that you do it the right way. So the number one mistake you guys make is trying to do this over text. It's super cringe, don't do that. Do this in person, ideally after sex, but somewhere where you guys are both in private, like at your place or something like that, right? And you guys are kind of in a good vibe, good mood. The second thing is you can start off by just simply asking her how she feels about you, right? You can be like, so I've really enjoyed hanging out with you. How do you feel about us, right? You can just ask the question that way, or some variation of that, right? And most likely, if you've done everything right so far, she'll give you a positive answer. At that point, you can kind of reinforce that. Be like, like, yeah, you know, I kind of feel the same way. I've really enjoyed our time together. Right? And after that is basically when you say, hey, listen, so what do you think about, you know, just maybe seeing if we can see each other exclusively, or what do you think about, you know, getting a little bit more serious, right? You can just approach it that way. You don't have to overdo it and confess your love for her, but it's simple as that. And then she will either agree and say yes, or she will disagree and say no. And again, if you've done everything right, there's a very high likelihood that she will say yes. So just avoid making the mistakes that I discussed. Also, at some point in the near future, you should sit down with her and have the boundary talk, which should be a separate talk. We talked about the things that, you know, would go against your boundaries, ask her for her boundaries, right? Clear communication is a solution for any relationship issue you have. So you want to make sure you're always communicating very clearly. And congratulations, now you're in a relationship. All right, hope you guys found this video valuable. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell for notification, because otherwise my videos will simply just not show up in your feed. So make sure you hit that bell as well. Also, check out my free Tinder guide. Link is going to be in the description. It's not only good for actually getting laid, but it's going to show you how to actually meet girls so you can potentially date them in the future if they are worthy of your love. It's going to show you how to get really good photos, how are the kind of bios going to make you stand out, and text games so you can turn all those leads into actual dates and ultimately turn them into a relationship. Thank you guys, and until next time.